To start off, tell us about yourself. Give us your name, age, and occupation.
So my name is Brandon Cottom. I'm 29, and I currently am an account manager for a family security firm. I'm also a speed coach at the Pre-Season Speed School, so I work with young children, coach them to get faster and stronger.
Why are you here on Survivor?
I'm here on Survivor because it's really a once in a lifetime opportunity at adventure. I think for me, it's about trying to not only learn more about myself, but create a better future for myself and my family. I think that it's very rare that we have an opportunity to kind of detach ourselves from civilization, so you say. I mean, like taking away all distractions of social media and just everything. Like there's no chance you get to really detach from everything and really just kind of focus on yourself and kind of who you want to be. And I think the Survivor kind of pulls that out of everybody, whether they like it or not. Um, so I mean, that's really the reason I'm here. I want to see kind of what I'm made of and see what I'm capable of because I've never put myself in a position like this. And also just because I mean, Fiji's beautiful, so it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, honestly.
What's your history with watching Survivor?
So I actually started watching Survivor when I was a young kid with my father. Started at season one, and through that time, it became like a bonding moment for us. And then when I actually moved out to go to college, I kind of detached from the show a little bit. Not for any particular reason, just because I was busy in other ventures. And then when I moved back to Pennsylvania and got close to my father again, that was one of our bonding moments again. We got right back into it and started watching it like we never fell off really. So it was more so a bonding experience for me than anything really. That was our opportunity to come together, watch something, and enjoy it together.
Give me one Survivor winner and one non winner who you identify with the most.
I think one winner that I identify with is Jeremy. The reason I say that is because I think when he came into the game, he understood that he was going to be a physical threat, and he played his game as such. He had other people that he kept around, maybe not necessarily as alliances or allies, but as people that he uses as we call meat shields. And personally, I feel like that's kind of the situation that I'm going to be in. I think that people are going to look at me as a physical threat because of my size and stature. So I need to, always have that in the back of my head and find ways to combat that, whether that's, going out and letting them see who I really am and understand my personality. And then also, having a couple other big guys that I try to keep around. So, pressure is not necessarily on me. And I think, one non-winner that I really do identify with is Danny. Reason I say that, Danny played in the NFL. I also played in the NFL. I played for the Seattle Seahawks. And I love the way that he went throughout the show without anybody seeing that side of him. And I think that's something I definitely want to carry into the show as well, because again, that's something that I feel like puts an unnecessary target on my back. Everybody feels like, you played in the NFL, you made these millions of dollars and signed these huge contracts, when in reality, that's only a small percentage of people who actually play in the league. So I don't want to put any unwanted or unnecessary tension on myself than need be.
What's your favorite moment in Survivor history?
Yes, I think, my favorite moment is probably honestly, I love the change of pace of the game, honestly. Like, perfect example, in the season with Danny, they had won one of the challenges, and the next thing you know, I believe it was Eric had the opportunity to go off and kind of change the whole course of the game. And I think that on one hand, yeah, it's rough and it sucks being on the winning side of that, and I can see why people be upset about that. But on the other side, I think that just shows the beauty of Survivor, that this is not a predictable game. There's nothing about this game that you can anticipate. It really keeps you on your toes, and it really sees what you're made of and how you react to what's going on in front of you. So I think personally that was one of my favorite moments, just because it really was a complete switch up from anything that anybody's really experienced in the game.
What's one life experience you feel has prepared you most for the game?
Let's see, one life experience that I think has prepared me for the game would be, just dealing with people on a daily basis, whether that's, at work. Since I do manage security guards, they're always trying to pull wool over my eyes, trying to tell me things that aren't necessarily true. So it becomes a matter of trying to weed out what's the truth and what's not, and kind of taking the context clues into account. Because if not, just like the game of Survivor, people are going to try to pull wool over my eyes. They're going to try to tell me lies, and they're going to try to set me up in ways that I might not necessarily see coming unless I'm paying attention to everything, the whole big picture of it. So I think just, dealing with the people that I've dealt with, and being exposed to so many different people of race and so many different cultures and religions, it kind of helps me also to relate with people a lot better. It's not like I'm just speaking from a place of like want to, it's just a place of experience. So I feel like that helps me to connect with people.
What excites you the most about the new era of Survivor?
I think what excites me most is, like I said, just not knowing what's coming next. It's scary. The unknown is always scary, but I think it's exciting at the same time because, on one hand, it could affect you negatively. You could, be at the top of the world, and next thing you know, it's snatched from underneath you. But on the other hand, you could be at the bottom and looking, as though, your time is up and this is the end. And the next thing you know, all of a sudden you're at the top. Something drastic happens and game changes. It's one of those games where it's like if you make it through the night, there's no telling what the next day is going to bring. It could completely switch the whole game up, and I think that's really exciting, honestly.
What do you think people will perceive you as?
I think that people will perceive me as somebody who is, yes, like a physical player and wants to do well in the challenges, but also somebody who's surprisingly intelligent and also very strategic in his moves. I'm somebody who I'm very aware of myself and I'm very aware of my surroundings. And I think that's one of the mistakes that you see a lot of survivors make is that they undermine other people's games or they put limits on other people. I'm going to be somebody who respects everybody, who's, I'm going to keep myself no matter, what's going on. I'm always going to be Brandon Cottom. That's who I am. That's the one person I can be. So I think people will see that, I'm respectful, but at the same time, I play hard and I'm here to win.
What type of player are you looking for in an alliance?
So in an alliance, I'm looking for somebody who is predictable because it's hard to say, somebody I can trust because you really can't trust anybody in this game. But I think trying to align with a predictable player is better than trying to align with a wild card. Also, so I'm just trying to make the most flexible relationships with people. So whether that's somebody who I align with or somebody who's similar to me or somebody who's completely opposite to me. I think the biggest thing for me is, like I said, finding somebody who's predictable, somebody who, if they say they're going to do this, I can pretty much count that they're probably going to do that or think or guess what their next move will be. I think it's the wild cards you have to watch out for, and they're the ones that are a little bit spooky, honestly.
How eager will you be to look for advantages in the game?
So honestly, initially, I'm not going to be very eager at all. I think that's one of those kisses of death that a lot of people they make and they don't even realize sometimes that they're making it. I mean, when I think of it from like a numbers game, you have depending on how many people in the tribe, especially starting off, you have a 1 in 6 chance of finding, which is not that great. So I don't feel like the risk necessarily outweighs the reward early in the game. Now, the later in the game that I make it, it's definitely that's going to pick up, and I'm going to start looking for them a lot more advantageously. But initially, I think it's going to be more so about building, my social relationships with people, and then also trying to just figure out who I'm out there with, trying to figure out, what makes them tick, what are their motivations, because it's much easier to, play on somebody's emotions when you understand what motivates them as opposed to what you think.
What's the one thing you told yourself you wouldn't do in this game?
Um, I don't think there's anything I told myself I wouldn't do. One thing well, no, that's not true. One thing I told myself I wouldn't do was lose myself in this game. At the end of the day, I have to look myself in the mirror, and I have to, I have a family back home, and I'm trying to represent myself well and them well. So I did tell myself that I'm not going to make my family look dumb, and I'm not going to make myself look dumb. Now, what exactly does that mean? It's kind of hard to say without knowing exactly what the game is, but I know how I want to carry myself and how I want to be perceived by others. So I don't want to make my family look stupid or make myself look stupid.
What's the best advice you received before coming out to play?
I think the best advice that I received was from my dad. It was just, pray every day and trust your instinct and be yourself. I think that's important. I try to keep God close in my life, and especially when things are really out of my hands, I try to put it in His hands. So just really, staying true to who I am and true to what I feel, and not second guessing myself. I feel like that's another area where people kind of mess themselves up is when they second guess their initial instinct. A lot of times, your instincts are more than likely right. So just not second guessing myself and not giving myself any reason to look back and say, oh, I wish I would have done this or I wish I would have done that.
Can you come up with your own weird phrase that could be said at a challenge to unlock an idol?
My own weird phrase that can be said at a challenge. Let's think. Monkey see, monkey do. but it'll never get the best of you.
What celebrity or fictional character would you want to come out for a loved one's visit?
What celebrity or fictional character? If I could choose any celebrity, it would be Dave Chappelle. I mean, honestly, I feel like he's somebody who is lighthearted and obviously is funny, but at the same time, he has a lot of wisdom. I just feel like that's kind of the picker upper that I would need out there. If I could choose any celebrity, yeah, it would definitely be Dave Chappelle.